Welcome to the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Tuesday, September 6th. Over the next few days, we will continue to see the very hot and dry conditions today and tomorrow, but we will see some relief with the temperatures as we move into Thursday as a cold front drops down from the north. However, in the meantime, we will see some gusty winds remaining today over parts of the Salmon Chalice, along with these very dry daytime humidities and poor overnight recoveries. A few isolated thunderstorms may occur over parts of central and western Nevada, but it's really Wednesday is the main focus for this push of moisture to the north, but also interacting with this area of low pressure coming down from the north. Therefore, we will have some thunderstorms, which will likely be faster moving and on the drier side up across parts of Idaho. This will occur in areas that we have extremely critical fuels, but also all of our large fires, so the threat will be new starts and spread with gusty outflow winds, along with the gusty outflow winds affecting existing incidents. Also, we will have some thunderstorms develop along parts of the Sierra Front into northwest Nevada, which will be a mix of wet and dry, probably a little bit slower moving, but still could potentially have some new starts into parts of northern and western Nevada. By Thursday, we will start to see some cooler temperatures, but some gusty winds behind the front, so we will see those winds affecting central and eastern Idaho and also into Wyoming. So again, any new starts or existing incidents in those areas will see some gusty winds following the lightning. Looking at the near-surface smoke forecast, we'll continue to see impacts from smoke, obviously across Idaho from both fires in Idaho and fires to our west. And similar to our conditions aloft, we will see those similar smoke issues and impacts up north. If we do see any activity on the fire in central California, that could push into parts of western Nevada. However, right now that has been minimal. Over the last 24 hours, we only saw a few lightning strikes in Nevada with really no precipitation to speak of. Great Basin fire activity yesterday was light, with smaller fires reported across the basin, but we continue to see growth on our large fires in Idaho. Over the last 7 to 14 days, very dry conditions have continued across much of Idaho into northern and western Nevada. It's really only about 10 days or longer ago we saw any monsoon moisture over the eastern area, so we have seen obviously very dry conditions since then. And ERCs have obviously responded significantly across the area, which is a testament to our large fire growth up in Idaho recently. ERCs continue to climb and are now above maximums for the time of year and above the 97th percentile for much of Idaho. Even further south into eastern Nevada and Utah, ERCs have steadily been climbing with this drier trend and are now even above the 90th percentile and approaching records in parts of eastern Nevada into northern and central Utah. 100-hour fuel moisture remains critical almost region-wide. The only exception is in the far south. The satellite loop from this morning shows still high pressure dominating, really not much change from what we've been seeing the last couple of days. Hot temperatures, very low relative humidity, still some breezy winds up north across Idaho on the northern periphery of that ridge, and also a very weak moisture under the ridge, allowing for those few isolated thunderstorms to develop again today. Later this afternoon, again, you can see the weather pattern very stagnant right now, so still high risk for the heat and dry conditions up in Idaho, but we do have the high risk for winds for the Salmon Chalice, as this is where the gusty winds will be remaining today. Otherwise, you can see obviously a lot more brown on our map for that moderate fire risk going down even into parts of central Utah and southern Nevada. Relative humidity today will remain in the single digits to low teens. And you can see the winds on the right showing those gusty winds mainly for the Salmon Chalice. Also could affect parts of the Payette, northern Sawtooth, even parts of the Boise, but really centered near the Salmon Chalice with wind gusts generally between about 25 and 30 miles per hour. Going into Wednesday, we do start to see the pattern change as that trough of low pressure moves into the Pacific Northwest. This will bring that moisture and energy into Idaho for an increase in lightning. So we do have a high risk for lightning for the central Idaho mountains into southwest Idaho. We'll also have some thunderstorms developing along parts of the Sierra Front into far northwest Nevada. We'll have to keep an eye on that with how dry it's been. We'll have to watch that storm motion to see if any high risk is needed further south and west. But right now, certainly the faster storm motions with limited moisture will occur up in Idaho. So the biggest threat is new starts and also gusty outflow winds affecting any new or existing incidents. Relative humidity may come up a little bit on Wednesday as that trough moves in for central Idaho and we do get some showers and thunderstorms, but still remaining in the teens, nothing no increase in relative humidity that will certainly make a difference for the fuels. Otherwise, single digits to low teens region-wide. Wind gusts will remain breezy over eastern Idaho into Wyoming on Wednesday, and also again as that trough moves in, we'll see an increase in southwest winds along with those gusty outflow winds. Here's the thunderstorm picture by the model for Wednesday. You can see the thunderstorms up in Idaho still might be on the isolated to widely scattered side, but again on the drier side, so a big risk for new starts and producing those gusty outflow winds. And then down into Nevada, we could see that those thunderstorms increase over central and eastern Nevada and also up the Sierra front. By Thursday, that trough starts to move eastward. We have drier air moving into Idaho already. However, we will see gusty winds behind these thunderstorms on Thursday as this dry air moves in. So we do have a high risk for winds following any lightning on Wednesday. We have this high risk for wind on Thursday. So again, looking at lightning on Wednesday, increasing new starts or the possibility of new starts, and also outflow winds affecting existing incidents, and then the gusty, more uniform westerly to northwest winds moving in on Thursday. You can see this tropical feature down here off the Baja coast that will be impacting the region by this weekend. On Thursday, again, generally teens region-wide. We are losing some of those single-digit RHs, but again, still very dry, and you can see the wind picture behind that front with the west to northwest winds gusting generally in the 30s. We could see some gusts closer to 40 miles per hour over parts of southern and eastern Idaho into Wyoming. On Thursday, we will see much of the thunderstorm threat move a little bit further east into western Wyoming and eastern Idaho. Still could see some isolated storms in parts of Utah, even in the north, extending back into northeast Nevada, and then still some isolated storms along the Sierra front. Forecast amounts of precipitation for the next few days are very light. Any moisture from the thunderstorms we're expecting to be pretty isolated and localized and on the lighter side, so don't expect significant wetting rains from these storms. By Friday, we have still that dry air in place over the northern third of the Great Basin, but this tropical feature now moves up north into the northern part of the Baja, pushing some moisture into far southern areas of the Great Basin. But it's really by Saturday that this moisture really works up into the southern half of the region. We could see that increase in thunderstorms late Saturday into Sunday for parts of the Carson district, extending eastward along the Highway 50 corridor and further south. And you can see how this significant fire potential responds, really expecting that moisture to increase, especially over southern areas. But still very dry air in place, poor overnight recoveries, and low daytime humidity for Idaho. On Sunday, that moisture works a little bit further north into northern Nevada and northern Utah, and then by Monday potentially works its way up into Idaho. The northern extent of the moisture is still fairly uncertain, so we could see some of that moisture stay mostly south of our large fires, or we could see some potential showers and thunderstorms and some wetting rains going into early next week. So we'll definitely be keeping an eye on that. Obviously, any moisture up north would certainly be welcome, but we'll have to keep an eye on certainly how heavy those storms will be and how far north that moisture will make it. But otherwise, over the southern half to two-thirds of the Great Basin across Utah and Nevada, we are certainly expecting a decrease in fire danger, certainly as you go into the far south. The 7-day total precip, here's what's possible for the precipitation as that tropical moisture works north. Most of that precipitation will be affecting Nevada into western Utah, but we'll be keeping an eye on Idaho to see how far north that moisture tracks. The 8 to 14-day outlook, taking us from September 13th through the 19th, shows above normal precipitation for the northern half of the region with some cooler temperatures. It looks like as we move towards the middle of the month, there'll be a better chance of stronger cold fronts and low pressure systems moving across the northern half of the Great Basin going from mid to late September. So that will certainly be decreasing temperatures, possibly bringing some additional wind, but also hopefully bringing some much needed moisture. That concludes our webcast for today. Check back tomorrow for the latest updates.